Deep in the hidden chambers of Egyptian mystery schools and the windswept heights of Taoist mountain sanctuaries, manifestation was never about demanding rewards from the universe. It was about survival of the soul. A sacred fire of purification burned through illusion, forging the self into a vessel so clear, so attuned to cosmic law, that creation could move through it like breath through a flute. These ancient paths understood a truth we've forgotten. Your outer reality doesn't bend to your thoughts. It mirrors the depth of your transformation. Without inner alchemy, manifestation becomes mimicry. With it, you become the current through which the universe speaks. The corpus hermeticum, that sacred text attributed to the sage Hermes Trismegistus, reveals, "For the human is a godlike living thing, not comparable to the other living things of the earth, but to those in heaven above, who are called gods." This isn't spiritual narcissism. It's recognition of our divine responsibility as conscious co-creators within the cosmic mind. Today, we're diving beneath the glittering surface of modern manifestation teaching to recover this forgotten wisdom, a practice that transforms not just what you possess, but who you are. This isn't about dismissing the law of attraction, but reclaiming its deeper purpose. In exploring these ancient alchemical approaches to manifestation with our community, I've witnessed transformations that transcend the superficial pursuit of objects and status. This inner work illuminates the invisible patterns that have been silently architecting your reality, often without your awareness. This is why we've created something special for those of you who feel called to go deeper with this work: the Inner Alchemy Quiz and personalized energy reading. This is a doorway into understanding the specific patterns operating in your unconscious, the alchemical processes already unfolding in your life, and the unique ways your inner reality is creating your outer circumstances. If you've been wondering why certain patterns keep appearing despite your best efforts, or why manifestation techniques haven't delivered what they promised, this reading might provide the deeper understanding you've been seeking. For the symbolic exchange of $11.11, you'll receive insights that could lead to a fundamental shift. The link is below if you feel drawn to explore this offering. Now, let's continue with our exploration of how manifestation teachings lost their deeper wisdom. When modern manifestation emerged through the New Thought movement in the 19th century, something crucial was lost in translation. Figures like Phineas Quimby, Mary Baker Eddy, and later Napoleon Hill extracted techniques from esoteric traditions, while leaving behind the essential spiritual foundations that gave these practices their power. In the Hermetic tradition, manifestation wasn't a technique, but a natural consequence of internal alignment with universal principles. The ancient Egyptian mystery schools understood that internal consciousness shapes external reality. When Hermeticists worked to transform their consciousness through disciplined practice, external changes followed not because they were attracting anything, but because they were becoming living embodiments of the principles they sought to manifest. In Taoist inner alchemy, or Naidan, practitioners didn't simply visualize desired outcomes. They underwent rigorous practices to purify their three treasures: Jing, essence; Kuai, life force; and Shen, spirit. Only then could they manifest change in accordance with the Tao. The Taoist classic Tao Te Ching reminds us, "Do your work, then step back, the only path to serenity." This is worlds apart from the constant striving, visualizing, and affirming of modern manifestation techniques. Even in Vedic traditions, manifestation wasn't about accumulation, but alignment. The concept of Dharma teaches that fulfillment comes not from getting what we want, but from aligning with our soul's purpose. The Bhagavad Gita advises it is better to perform one's own duties imperfectly than to master the duties of another. So what happened? How did these profound spiritual technologies become reduced to vision boards and affirmations? The answer lies partly in the prosperity gospel problem. Modern manifestation teaching bears a striking resemblance to prosperity theology, the belief that God rewards faith with financial blessing. Both promise material abundance through spiritual means, and both can lead to a troubling conclusion. If you're not manifesting success, your spiritual practice must be lacking. This perspective creates a troubling dynamic. When someone faces genuine hardship, illness, financial struggle, or systemic oppression, manifestation teachings can imply they've somehow created their own suffering through negative thinking. This isn't just psychologically harmful, it's a profound misunderstanding of ancient wisdom. The Kybalion, a Hermetic text, teaches that while every effect has its cause, every cause has its effect. This is often simplified to mean our thoughts directly create our reality. But the deeper teaching acknowledges that we exist within complex webs of causality, cosmic, collective, and personal. True wisdom recognizes both our creative power and our embeddedness in systems larger than ourselves. Perhaps the most dangerous element of modern manifestation teaching is what it omits entirely: shadow work. Carl Jung observed that, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This insight cuts to the heart of why manifestation often fails. Shadow work is the courageous practice of facing and integrating the rejected, disowned parts of ourselves, our fears, wounds, and aspects we've been taught to suppress. When we bypass this essential work, our unconscious sabotages our conscious intentions. You might affirm abundance while unconsciously believing you're unworthy of it. You might visualize love while unconsciously fearing intimacy. You might declare success while unconsciously associating it with betraying your origins. These shadow elements don't disappear through positive thinking. They grow stronger through neglect. This is why genuine inner alchemical traditions begin not with light, but with darkness. The first stage of alchemy is nigredo, the blackening, where we confront our shadows. It's symbolized by the raven, putrefaction, and decomposition. This isn't negative thinking, it's honest reckoning. The 15th century alchemical text, Splendor Solis, describes this phase. The body must be dissolved, destroyed, and mortified. Only through death can the new birth happen. This is shadow work, the willingness to die to who we think we are, so something authentic can emerge. Modern manifestation teaching often slides into spiritual bypassing, using spiritual concepts to avoid facing painful truths. When we fixate on raising our vibration without addressing our wounds, we create a fragile spiritual identity that collapses when challenged. True spiritual growth doesn't bypass darkness, it transforms it. The 13th century Persian poet Rumi knew this when he wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Without this understanding, manifestation becomes another form of spiritual materialism, using spiritual practices to strengthen the ego rather than transcend it. Inner alchemy offers a more profound approach to manifestation, one that honors the necessary stages of transformation. After nigredo comes albedo, the whitening, where purification and integration occur. Only then comes rubedo, the reddening, where true creation and manifestation emerge. This alchemical sequence teaches us that manifestation is the final stage of a transformative process, not the starting point. The 17th century alchemist Michael Meyer wrote in Atalanta Fugians, "Make of man and woman a circle, from that a square, from the square a triangle. Make a circle, and you will have the philosopher's stone." This geometric metaphor describes the journey from fragmentation to wholeness that precedes true manifestation. Each stage serves a purpose that cannot be skipped. Nigredo requires courage, the willingness to face what we've avoided. This might involve examining limiting beliefs, but goes much deeper to the core wounds and existential fears that shape our reality. Medieval alchemists used the symbol of the crucible, a vessel that could withstand intense heat without breaking, to represent the container needed for this challenging work. Albedo requires discernment, the clarity to separate what's authentic from what's conditioned. This purification phase transforms fear into presence, attachment into freedom, and scarcity into sufficiency. The alchemists symbolized this with the white swan and the moon, representing purified consciousness. In practical terms, this might involve examining the desires you're trying to manifest. Do they emerge from societal programming or authentic being? Are you seeking wealth because you fear insecurity, or because abundance allows you to fulfill your purpose? Are you pursuing a relationship to fill a void, or to share a fullness that already exists within you? Only after these phases does rubedo, the true manifestation phase, become possible, symbolized by the phoenix, the sun, and the color red. This is where inner transformation naturally expresses itself in outer reality. The 16th century alchemist Paracelsus described this state. He who knows nothing loves nothing, but he who understands also loves, notices, sees. This is manifestation through being rather than doing, a natural expression of who you've become. When your consciousness has been transformed, your external reality shifts accordingly. Your outer world becomes a reflection of your inner state of being. What might this alchemical approach to manifestation look like in practice? Instead of visualizing desired outcomes, you might practice presence with what is, including the discomfort, resistance, and shadow elements that arise. The Zen tradition calls this sitting with our experience without judgment or evasion. Instead of affirmations that contradict your current state, you might practice honest self-witnessing. What am I actually feeling? What am I avoiding seeing? What unconscious beliefs might be operating beneath my awareness? Instead of focused intention on specific results, you might cultivate surrender to what wants to emerge through you. The Tao Te Ching advises, do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself? These practices aren't as immediately appealing as think yourself rich formulas, but they address the root rather than the symptoms. They transform the consciousness from which manifestation naturally flows. This approach also resolves the victim-blaming undercurrent in manifestation teachings. When we acknowledge both personal agency and systemic realities, we can work with what is within our power, while having compassion for genuine limitations. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus offered wisdom here. Some things are within our power, while others are not. Discerning this difference is essential wisdom. We can transform our relationship to reality, even when we cannot immediately transform reality itself. A balanced approach to manifestation might include these elements. First, honest shadow work. What parts of yourself have you rejected or denied? What wounds are asking for attention? What unconscious patterns might be sabotaging your conscious intentions? This requires courage and often benefits from skilled guidance. Second, purification of desire. Are your manifestation goals aligned with your authentic being, or are they attempts to fill unmet needs or conform to external expectations? The Buddhist tradition offers valuable insights on the difference between attachment and wholesome aspiration. Third, ethical consideration. How do your desires affect others and the collective? The Hermetic tradition teaches that we are all connected in the one mind. True manifestation creates benefit beyond the individual self. Fourth, presence with what is. The paradox of manifestation is that attachment to specific outcomes often blocks them. The Zen concept of non-attachment doesn't mean not caring. It means caring so deeply that you're willing to release your preconceptions about how things should unfold. Finally, co-creation rather than control. We don't manifest in isolation, but in relationship with forces larger than ourselves. Indigenous traditions worldwide emphasize reciprocity with these forces, giving before receiving, honoring while requesting. This more mature approach to manifestation doesn't promise instant gratification. It offers something more valuable, authentic transformation that naturally expresses itself in changed circumstances. The 20th century spiritual teacher Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj put it simply: wisdom is knowing I am nothing, love is knowing I am everything, and between the two, my life moves. This is the space where true manifestation occurs, not from desperate wanting, but from the overflow of being. So where does this leave us with the law of attraction? Not dismissing it entirely, but reclaiming its deeper dimension. The attraction is not between your thoughts and external reality, but between your authentic being and its natural expression. When you transform internally through the alchemical process, your external reality naturally reorganizes around your transformed consciousness. Not because you've manipulated energy through force of will, but because you've become a clearer vessel for the expression of the universal intelligence that flows through all things. This is manifestation in its highest form. Not getting what you want, but becoming who you truly are. In that becoming, you'll find that many desires fall away, while others are fulfilled in ways you couldn't have imagined. If you've been struggling with manifestation techniques that promise but don't deliver, consider that the answer may not be more affirmations or clearer visualization. It might be the courage to face what you've been avoiding, the willingness to question your desires, and the patience to allow transformation to occur in its own time. The ancient wisdom traditions all point to this truth. The greatest miracle is not controlling reality through thought, but awakening to the reality of who you already are. From that awakening, everything else follows. If you found value in this perspective, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more content that bridges ancient wisdom with modern challenges. May your journey be one of authentic transformation on your path to a better life.